So hello and welcome back after me taking a week off for personal reasons. We are back to exploring Azeroth, and this week, as promised, we are going to explore Uldum. Uldum is a area in World of Warcraft where it was brought about with the Cataclysm. It was sort of just legend before that. It was sort of a shrouded area that no one really knew much about, except there were a lot of legends and different things. A lot of dwarves lost their lives trying to get to Uldum. They wanted to find the lost city of Tolvier and all of that. And with the Cataclysm, we got to adventure in. So what I'm going to do, since Beryl has not yet opened, well, she's explored all of Uldum, but she hasn't actually done the quests. So what I'm going to do is show you the opening of Uldum. It is a lot of fun. And then we're just going to kind of run around and explore a lot of the different areas. Unfortunately, for my own RP loving heart, there's no real houses in Uldum, which is too bad. I think that they could make some really cool ones. There's some tents and things like that, but there's no actual what I consider housing. But there are a lot of fun adventures to be had. So we're gonna run right over here and kind of open up Uldum. Now, to open up Uldum, if you've never been here before, all you have to do is Horde or Alliance. You just need to find this little caravan, which is actually in Tanris, but it's right at the gates of Uldum, and you can see them right over there. And you just go ahead and talk to Andra.
You need something?
Who says, "Why, hello there. Whatever brought you, I'm so glad that you're here. My friends will never admit to it, but we could really use a hand. The ancient region of Uldum has been exposed. Treasure beyond your wildest dreams, free for the taking. We just need a bit of an escort, what with the bandits and all. You'll accompany us, won't you? You are welcome to all the loot that you can haul off." All right,
see you around.
Well, let's totally do that. We just have to hop on this camel here. Or maybe not. No, silly elf. No one rides the lady. Alrighty then. What am I supposed to do? Guess we'll just sit with the troll.
Uldum!
That's a bit of I wonder which one of us is the ugly one. You would have paid 5 easy, dummy. You've been ransomed. And that is how you open Uldum. Then all you have to do is manage to get yourself out of the situation and a few other little things, but it's all good. And then Uldum is open. Uldum is also home to possibly, even though it's one of the glitchier quest chains, one of my favorite quest chains that sends you all over the zone, and that is the Harrison Ford, which leans heavily on the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and even Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. I mean, you've got such a heavy Indiana Jones vibe all through this, which is the other reason that we are looking as much like an adventurer as we can this time. So let me get Beryl out of here and then we will go exploring. Now, when you come to, you are in the lost city of the Tolvier, which actually is a really fun dungeon to do. A lot more fun for me now that I'm way over level and it's not that difficult of a dungeon. But you can kind of get a little look around. It is a really cool area. And of course, you've got the one you're supposed to be hiding from, but don't worry, you will see him later in a dungeon and take him out then. But yeah, the entire zone sort of has a little bit of a Titan vibe and a little bit of a kind of Egyptian vibe going. At least the westernized version of an Egyptian vibe. It's full of gorgeous statues and all sorts of really interesting places. Like I said, the whole Harrison Ford thing and the Indiana Jones thing is kind of all through this entire zone, which makes it so much fun to quest through. Also, I've been looking for it for years and years and years and still never found it, but supposedly, you can find these little camel statues that will be scattered throughout this zone. And if you find them and click on them, occasionally they will take you to the steam pools, which is a place we will go to later, where you can get a super rare camel mount. Now, I've never actually managed to find one of these camel statues, despite looking for possibly forever. Well, at least as long as Cataclysm has been out. But one day I figure I will actually find one. It would be really awesome if I managed to find one while I was flying around touring this area, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Now, again, this is kind of a big area. It's got a lot of really good quests. It also has a lot of really glitchy quests, which could be because so much of this zone phases in and out, which makes it a little bit harder, I'm assuming, on the programming end to keep things going the way they should, but it's still a really fun area. We're heading over right now to Schlotz's Landing, I think is the name of it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. And this again kind of ties in with the whole Indiana Jones type thing. Schnotz here is very loosely based on the World War II era German commanders that Indiana Jones was always fighting against. So whenever you read him, he is definitely speaking in a very German accent. So he's like, "I'm not away with you. Can't you see that I am concentrating?" It's silly, but it's a lot of fun. He will send you off on a bunch of quests before you find out that actually he's the bad guy. It's terrible. It makes for a really fun quest, and it also lets our version of Indiana Jones, which is Harrison Jones, stage a wonderful rescue of you later on in the questing. Now, there aren't too many actual other population centers in Uldum. There's Schlotz's Landing, there is Romkin, which is the main city, and then there's the little caravan area that is up in the northeast corner. And that's really pretty much it. But this zone has a lot. Not as many as Tanris, but it does have 3 dungeons and a raid. And they're all really, really honestly great fun. You get to run into Brand Bronzebeard, who you see throughout all of the expansions. This also has possibly one of the most fun quests that you do have to unlock. I can't remember if it becomes a repeatable quest, but basically you get to play Katamari Damacy in the desert bowling over leopard gnomes, which is ridiculously fun. Like, not even gonna lie, it's possibly one of the more enjoyable quests, just rolling around in your ball and running over leopard gnomes. It's a lot of fun. But we're gonna head to Ramekin. We might actually also dive into a few of the tombs that you're going to be delving into as you quest through this area, but once again, unfortunately, there's no real housing. There are some really good archaeology points. In fact, if you want to get the Vial of the Sands, which is an alchemy profession recipe, you actually also have to do archaeology. And the Vial of the Sands is so worth it. I know you can probably just buy it off the auction house, but what it does is when you use it, you turn into a dragon, and even better, you can carry passengers. So it's one of the few ways that you can carry passengers around in the old world, and one of the only, and I'm going to put this in heavy air quotes, one of the only free ways to do it. I'm putting it in heavy air quotes because it is a massive time sink to do it, and it's also a little bit of a gold sink to get the Vial of the Sands, but it is doable. I did turn myself into this dragon. Oh, I think I've had Vial of the Sands for about 5 or 6 years now. So it's very doable, but it is a bit of a gold sink to do it. Now, one fun thing that you can do is you can go right here to the Vernal Dam, and you can actually get a really neat look at the lake under Ramekin, which is kind of fun. There's also, since Cataclysm was the expansion where they tried to make underwater stuff much more doable, there are also a couple of quests that take place within this lake. There is a cavern that is off this way, which is kind of a neat cavern that you have a quest in. Where is it? There it is. Where you have to swim down and kill an enemy. But I think this is the expansion where I started to learn that there were a lot of really cool things underwater in World of Warcraft. And so now I pretty much always have to check out every body of water and see if there's anything secret or hidden. Not that this was secret or hidden. Like I said, this is actually a quest line that you're going to be going that will send you down here. But still, it is a cool little cave that you can kind of just run around in. Other than that, you know, there's Ramekin, which we're about to go and explore, which unfortunately doesn't have a lot, like I said, that I consider housing. But I do like the aesthetics of this whole area, so it is what it is. Also, I feel like I'm going far too slow, so let's just go ahead and swim a little bit faster. And we will head over to Ramekin. Alright, so as you can see, honestly, it's a really nice area. I just wish that Blizzard would have actually had these buildings be open so that you could poke around in them. But that could just be the explorer in me. You can go over here, you can talk to the pharaoh, or the king, whose name is Pharaohs. This is the inn. It's a little bit bare bones, but still, it's a nice area. Kind of a very lush oasis area. You've got your usual vendors and all of those things, and a lot of really cool statuary. Now, one interesting thing that you can do in Romkin after you save the king's son is you get a choice, and honestly, I usually pick wrong, but you get a choice from the quartermaster to either take a trinket that gives you a extra bit of gold from every quest or extra reputation. And for the longest time, I always picked the one that gave you extra gold, never realizing that there were a couple of mounts that the quartermaster here sells once you hit exalted reputation with him. Now, I have since actually gotten the mounts, but it took a very long time, which I was very mad at because they're cool camel mounts and they're very, very cheap for World of Warcraft mounts. They're only 100 gold each, and it is the reins of the brown and tan riding camel. Now, the special camel that you can get off of the rare mob is the gray riding camel, and I do believe it has 2 humps, which is what makes it so special. But unfortunately, I can't show you what that looks like, at least not a genuine mount, because I still have never found the camel statue. Well, I found it twice, but both times that I found it, it was the statue that crumbled the dust, not the statue that teleports you to the steam pools, unfortunately. So there's only one other real area to talk about, and that is up here by, what is that called again? It is called the Oasis of Viscere, and that is the last flight point. There are no differentiations between Horde and Alliance in this zone. Everything is neutral. So that is one really good thing. I actually like the neutral type zones a lot more than I like the very faction heavy stuff. Oh, also there is a fun daily quest that you can do up here once you unlock it, where you get to hop onto the confiscated artillery and just bomb this area, which is all of Schatz's men. And that is one that you will unlock with Harrison Jones when you have completed his quest line. Now, there are a lot, and you will see them with the Harrison Jones quest lines. You'll be doing a lot inside of the tombs. And like I said, the only drawback to a lot of the quest lines is they are really glitchy. I keep hoping that Blizzard will get them fixed, but Uldum has always been a kind of glitchy zone, and that has only been made worse by the fact that they have again phased this zone with the end of BFA. But as you can see, there's a lot of really cool tombs, and you do a lot of questing with Harrison Jones down here. And they did put a lot of detail into it, so you gotta give them that. It is an incredibly cool looking area. But yeah, that's about it. We're gonna go to the Oasis of Viscere. Now, what is so cool about Uldum is for a long time it was rumored that there was a potentially world-destroying weapon stored in Uldum, and it turns out that actually the whole zone was the weapon. So that was kind of an interesting thing to find out, that Uldum was the source of the potential reset that Algalon the Observer was going to hit and just restart all of Azeroth. Good thing that didn't happen, huh? Alright, so the very last thing is you have a flight point, which is right up here at the end of the oasis, and that takes us right over to where we will be picking up next week, which is, the next area is going to be Silithus. Now, I think before we go, since it's not really Silithus, but it's also not really Uldum, I'm going to take you to one of my very favorite little zones after we talk just for a second about how there is, it's not him, it is this vendor right over here. This is Chelsea Jake. He has got supplies and repairs, and I think he is the one that has... No, it's not him. There is a vendor here that has the very expensive things that you need to do the Vial of the Sands, but he might not actually show up
only the finest goods.
until you have
a
the
good one.
reputation. So that might have been pointless. Anyway, I'm going to take you to possibly my favorite little cave, and I'll show you exactly how to get there once we get down to the coastline right over here, just between Anchorage and Uldum. So I'll see you there in just a second. Alright, so all you have to do to get to possibly the coolest cave in all of Azeroth, or one of them, is hug the coastline right along here, along Anchorage, the Fallen Kingdom, right after you leave Uldum. You're going to hug the fatigue zone. Don't worry about it, you can always fly back over here. Now, when I found this, I was actually swimming. That was how long ago I found this cave. But you look for the big tree, and you'll see there is a cave here. And as far as I know, there is no reason for this cave. There is no reason for what lives at the bottom of the cave. And I was really hoping with Dragonflight that maybe there would be an explanation. But if you look down there, you can see Andrestas, a dragon, that nobody has ever been able to figure out why he's in this cave. And Blizzard has never actually said why. He did make a appearance in, I think, the Before the Storm novel, or maybe it was the Warcraft Chronicles, which I have not read. I need to one of these days. I probably should order it. But he did make an appearance. The characters in that novel did find him, and I think in that he wakes up briefly. So it's not like Blizzard has forgotten that he's here. They just aren't really acknowledging why he's here, which is a very interesting thing. Now, I'm probably going to get lost trying to get to him, which is fine, because if you can't get to him one way, you can always just jump down to him, which is what I usually end up doing because I get frustrated. I'm not saying that I have a patience problem, I'm just saying that I have a patience problem. So if you can't go one way, you just go the other. And if you're a rogue, you're very, very bouncy, so that works. Now, I have tried every toy that I own on him. People came here, I've seen people come with Drakthir and try to wake him up, and all he does is sleep. Occasionally he will pick up his head, kind of yawn, but there is nothing you can do to wake this dragon up, and it's very frustrating. It's one of the little mysteries of World of Warcraft that hopefully one day will get answered. And like I said, he's really easy to find. just fly to the very, very, what do you call that? The farthest point to the west on Uldum, and then fly just skirting the fatigue zone into Anchorage. Look for the very first big tree and you will find the cave. Let me know in the comments below if you have seen Andre Stas do anything other than sleep. I've seen him pick up his head and kind of yawn. That's been it. And as far as I know, no one has been able to get any reaction out of him ever using toys or emotes, unfortunately. So that is where we are going to leave it. Next week we will be moving on to Silithus, which is a two-parter. Not a huge two-parter, but it does have two phases, like so many of the other zones in World of Warcraft as the game gets older and older, and they have to keep making things move on. But from me and Beryl and the sleepy dragon Andre Stas, have a good one, and I'll see you later.